To understand about octants. Now, you see, before we do that, let's try to understand about what is a quadrant. You guys already know what is a quadrant. When two lines intersect at right angle, then it forms four equal parts and they are called as quadrants, correct? So here we know that this is the first quadrant where you have both plus, plus, right? Second quadrant, you have minus, plus. Third quadrant, minus, minus. And fourth quadrant, you are going to have plus, minus. Now, we know the signs of the coordinates in these four quadrants. Again, I'll tell you, this is for a plane. This is not for a space. Because when you have space, you can move left, you can move right, you can move up and down also. Along with that, you can go forward and backward. So if you look at it, because see here, a slight degree of imagination is required from your side. Because you cannot put down a space on a paper. Three dimension, if you write a cube or a cuboid or whatever three dimension figure you write, either there is going to be overlap or intersection of the line, or you can say that one part of the three dimension figure is not visible. It's always the case. So you cannot put a 3D figure in a two-dimension plane, correct? That's why what we do is whenever we talk about a three-dimension object, a very, very important part is understanding about octants. Because this is how we start with 2D, correct? Talking about the quadrants. Likewise, for a three-dimension figure or a three-dimension space, we have octants. Alright? So let's try to understand how octants work and how do we place the points within those octants. Now to understand about an octant, see octant, octa meaning 8. So we are dividing the space into 8 equal volumes or 8 equal parts. You can call it however you want. Fine. But how do we get a space? This is the first question. Now we got a plane by taking two lines, correct? In the sense, a line is a one dimension figure. When you take one dimension figures, two of them, you are going to get a 2D plane. So to get a three dimension space or a three dimension figure, we take two 2D planes. In the sense here, first we'll take or we'll consider one plane. Okay, assume this is one plane. All right. So here we are going to have one plane. Then after this, we are going to consider one more plane going up like this. Now, both of them are intersecting, and that too they're intersecting at 90 degrees, something like this. Okay, now since both of them are intersecting, these planes are made up of lines, correct? So first what we'll do, we'll write down those particular lines. Let's say we have one here. So from here, let's say we are going to draw one line. Let's call it as x-axis. So behind, we are going to have the x dash, correct? Now we'll do for the y-axis. So say the positive y-axis is going to be this way. So the negative y-axis is going to be behind. One forward, one behind. Now we are going to have the z. Say z is vertically up. This is the positive z-axis. So the negative one is going to be z dash. Now the point of intersection is the origin. So we have x, y, z and their negative counterpart x dash, y dash and then z dash. Fair enough? Now this is divided into 8 parts if you look at it. See the space which talks about x, y and z. All the three together. That means we are looking at the first octant. See, this is the first octant, something which is facing towards our side. All right, X, Y, and Z. Now, this basically becomes the first octant. Now, in the first octant, all of them are positive. All three, X, Y, Z, all three are positive. All right. Now, the second part or the second octant, here X dash, Y, and Z. In the sense, what was the second quadrant value or the points, the signs of the coordinates? It's going to be minus plus, right? It's the same thing. So here we are going to have the negative x, x dash, y, and z. This is the second octant. So now what do we have? This is going to be the second octant, third octant, fourth octant. So first four octants are above the plane, the horizontal plane. The next four are below the plane. So what we are doing is directly below the first octant, we are going to have the fifth octant. Directly below the second, we are going to have the sixth. Then directly below this is seventh. This is going to be the eighth octant. Fair enough? Now, these are the 8 octants. Alright, now there is an easier way of remembering the signs. You just have to know the quadrant signs. If you know that, you can figure out the signs of the octant. Now, let me show you quickly how to do that. Very, very simple. Alright. See here, let's take an example. See, this is X, this is Y, this is Z. First, second, third, fourth, 5, 6, 7, finally 8. Okay, so we have 8 octants and 3 of them. Now, go with the quadrant. Now, in the first quadrant, this is plus, correct? Now, what you do, go 4 spaces after this. Okay, that is for 2, 3, 4, and the fifth one. 1 plus 4 is 5. Here also you are going to have plus and plus. It's the same thing. What changes is in the first quadrant, Z is positive, but in the fifth quadrant, Z is negative. Because the first 4 quadrants are above, the next 4 quadrants are below. So, Z is going to change. Now, for the second quadrant, what is X and Y? X is going to be negative, Y is going to be positive. Now, which other counterpart, the octant, is going to be the same? The sixth one. Sixth one, negative, positive. Z value is plus, Z value is minus. See, if you know quadrant, you can easily get to know the sign of the octant, isn't it? Very, very simple. So, next one, if you have the third octant, you're going to have minus, minus. So, the seventh octant is also going to be minus, minus. But for the third octant, Z is going to be plus, this is going to be minus. Then finally, for the fourth one, X is going to be plus, Y is going to be minus. Same thing, plus, minus, this is plus, this is minus. See, these are the signs of the octants. So, if you know quadrant, you'll figure out the octant. Very, very simple. Because it follows the same quadrant. The only difference is for the first 4, Z is plus. For the next 4, Z is minus. Okay, suppose, say, I give you an example. Let's say you have, say, point P is 2, comma, minus 3, comma, minus 7. Okay, very simple. Always, don't start from the first one, guys. Never start from the first one. What you do, always start from the last one. See, if Z is negative, you know that it has to be one among these 4, correct? Either 5, 6, 7, or 8. Next, what you do, next you're going to look at these values, 2, comma, minus 3. So, X is plus, Y is minus. When X is plus, Y is minus, Z is also minus. So, look at try to figure out in your head itself. X is plus, Y is minus. This is going to be the fourth quadrant. But since Z is negative, it's going to go with the eighth octant. So answer for this one is going to be the eighth octant. See, it will take some time for you guys to get used to this. But once you are used to this, it's going to be very, very simple. All right. Now, this is the basic of three-dimension geometry because you're trying to understand where the point is situated. What is the position of the point? Once you understand the position of the point, then you have understood the octant part very, very clearly. Fine. So in the next video, we'll solve few problems based on the concept what we have learned, basically of the table. Fair enough. So whatever the table we are going to have, whatever the table you have here, try to understand and memorize this one. More than memorizing, I would say logically understand this one. Because if you understand, in the next video, problem solving is going to be very simple. So in the next video, we'll start with the problems.